All right, this is where we left off in the last lesson. We got our main BioStack view all set up. So we have all of the person information, name, height, mass, hair, birth year, and gender according to the Star Wars API. And what we want to do now is add in a button, our random button. All right, so I'm going to close our assistant editor, zoom in here a little bit, and open up our object library, search for button, and just drag in a button right here. And then I'm going to change the text color to white, change the font from system to custom, change the family to Star Jedi. All right, that looks good. And let's just bump up the size just a couple, maybe to 19. Then we're going to change the text to say random. And then if we pull back open our font here, we can see the special characters that we want to use. You can use any of these that you want. I'm going to go ahead and use the Rebel Alliance and the Empire's insignias here. So that's going to be the $ and the number or pound sign. Okay, and then I'm going to jump back into Xcode and let's go ahead and do that. We got the $ here, and then at the end, a space and pound sign, and enter. Hey, there we go. Looks pretty cool. All right, let's go ahead and give this a background color. Let me see here, background, and we'll use the same black transparent. Here we go. And I'm going to go ahead and make that a little bit bigger, maybe about there. That looks pretty good. And then, oh, I guess I didn't change that to random. There we go, random. And let's go ahead and set the width and the bottom constraint to 20. Add those two constraints. And then we are going to also center it horizontally in container. All right, there we go. And it looks like that didn't get the 20 from the bottom. So I'm going to go back into our size inspector and align bottom to safe area is 20. So that's right. That doesn't quite look right though. So I'm going to pull it up. I'm going to delete that bottom constraint and let's try that again. Constraint to margins, 20. There we go. That looks better. I think I was too far down and so it was attaching to the super view, not the safe area. All right, now so in the finished app, both this view and the button had rounded corners. And now I could make an outlet like we did with this view, and we could encode round those corners. But I'm thinking that we're going to be doing this a lot in this app. If you recall, we had several screens that had black backgrounds and rounded corners. So why don't we go ahead and make a subclass, all right? So I'm going to go in here to our view. I'm going to right click and say new file. And this is just going to be a Swift file, and we're going to call it black background view. I'm going to say create. And here we are going to import UIKit. Okay, so Foundation just includes the Swift libraries. If we want to work with things like UI views and UI buttons, though, we need to import UIKit. And we're going to subclass UI view and UI button. Okay, so let's first do the UI view. So I'm going to say class. And we're going to call this black BG view, and its superclass is UI view. Okay. And then what do we want it to do? This is going to implement some additional functionality in addition to the standard UI view. And so what we want it to do is have a black background color and a corner radius. Okay. So we can do that here in awake from nib. This is the method that prepares the receiver for service after it has been loaded from an interface builder archive or nib file. Okay, so the first thing that happens is this is called, and we are going to give it a background color and a corner radius. So I'm going to say layer dot background color is equal to, and we'll say UI color dot black dot with alpha component. And so we are replicating that color that we picked in the storyboard in the interface builder. And then we can give it the corner radius. Layer dot corner radius is equal to 10. Okay. Now I'm thinking we're going to be using this color. Oh, I forgot I need to convert this to a CG color because the background color for a layer is a CG color or a core graphics color. And I have a feeling that we're going to be using this color multiple times. So I'm going to copy it and we're going to create a new group here. And I'm going to call it utils for utilities. And I'm going to go ahead and drag that down here right above resources. And here under utils, I'm going to right click and say new file. And this will just be a Swift file as well. I'm going to say next, and we're going to call this constants. And this file is going to hold any global constants that will be accessible throughout the app. Okay, so we're going to say let black bg equal, and then I'm going to paste that UI color that we created above. And again, since we are using a UI color, we need to import UI kit. I'm going to save that. Make sure that you save it, otherwise it won't be available when we come back up here. And we're going to change this to black BG. That's for black background. All right, great. So now we have created our UI view subclass. So when we come over here to our main.storyboard, we can go ahead and select our stack background view. So this is a UI view and we are going to set its class now. So this is here in the identity inspector and we set the custom class to black background view. And then we no longer need the outlet. We can delete that and we can remove this code because this is going to be handled directly in its subclass code. And remember, if you delete a outlet from here in your view controller, you also need to go and remove it from your interface builder. So I'm going to select our select person VC here, right click, and you'll see this yellow warning sign here, and you just click on that little X there. All right, so that is taken care of. And now we want to do the same thing with our button here. Okay, so let's come back to our black BG view and let's go ahead and subclass our UI button as well. So I'm going to say class. And this is going to be black BG button. And the superclass is a UI button. And we are going to do the exact same thing as the UI view. So I'm going to copy that and paste it here. And that looks good. I'm going to save that. And then we're going to come back into our storyboard, select our button here, and change its class to black BG button. All right, very good. All right, so let's go ahead and run that and make sure both of those look good. All right, they do. They look great. All right, perfect. So that is all we are going to do in this lesson. Just to recap, we learned how to subclass the UI view and UI button so that we can implement some attributes so that we don't have to duplicate work and have additional code in our view controller that we don't really need. So we have our person information here. Now I think it's about time that we start talking about web requests and APIs and how we are actually going to get information from the internet to set these labels correctly, all right? So get excited for that. In the next lesson, we're going to talk about web requests and APIs, all right? So I'll see you then.